Are we on? Is everybody in? I don't see no time ticker starting yet. Bam, 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 bam. There we are. Hi, everybody. Metaphysical Mama, how's everyone doing? Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. We're going to continue reading from the book, The Gene Keys. I promised I'd come back on, and so I'm committing to my word. I had to cut it short the other day, which was great because I had the video a little long. So this is part 2 of Gene Codes, the 33rd Gene Key, the final revelation. Super cool book. We're just kind of talking about whatever comes on in. So if you want to have a seat and make yourself comfortable, or whatever you're doing, whatever time of day or night it is for you, I hope you're having a good one. And if you've been having a rough one, then I'm glad you came as well. And hopefully you can feel a little better after coming and going from here. So always, take what resonates and leave the rest. And, we try to free our mind here and just allow, I work with intuitive spiritual guidance or energy or whatever you want to call it. We get to the scientific part of it too, like radio frequencies, and everything is energy. So having an open mind to have a clearer, right, more grounded perception of many different waves, currents, right, waves of looking at things instead of being so reactive as most, right? We're coming out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, right? So they call it a golden age. So it's right, bringing in harmony and alchemizing these energies, and it takes a lot of patience and a lot of work. And as y'all know, everybody's been feeling it, and we've been going through, right, the C words, which are just cosmic energies and corona mass ejections and solar flares and different alignments of the stars, said suns, and planetary alignments that then have, right, different chain reaction responses within our own physical DNA. Right? If you can think in your mind's eye that we are just as a plant or a tree, right? We vibrate in harmony with Mother Earth and the energies that we're cosmically made up of, right? Our natal charts, your birth chart, your physical born chart, right? That's your sun sign as your zodiac sign or your horoscope, or what you know yourself as your birth date, right? When you were born, what sign you are. That's our head sign, right, I think I am. It's kind of like our license or our ID that represents our, right, straw man, our fictional character, right? How many names do you go by, right? Me, a name I call myself. Which, speaking of gene keys, to sing, right, the scales, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and back down, that helps to realign our chakras. And you can kind of feel what's out of line, right? Out of line, out of alignment, or what feels a little off, and can hum that key, right? Keys for a little bit to get in tune with that energy and balance it into more constructive energy. Clearing it out, right? Like White River Junction, right? Clear running rivers, waters, right? Which is different than being swept up in a wave from an emotion, the salt water, right? Which we can't live off drinking salt water, right? spring water, and it's good to, right, like give our water a swirl and say good things to it before we drink it, or just have good energy before we drink it, because it can get kind of flat. We want living, high vibrational water to drink, and that's how we want to think, right? My cup overfloweth. So the better that we're able to change, right, change our mindset, the more we're able to navigate through, right, these uncharted seas. Ah, that was cool. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, check this out. There's like one cloud in the sky. It looks like a big twisty DNA strand. Hopefully you can, are you able to see that? Meow. Twists down at the end there. A couple little spray clouds over there, I think. But it's a pretty hot, blue skied, sunny Sunday. Happy Sunday, by the way. And please like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, the routine. I appreciate so much. Okay, so what's this? Top on comment. I don't know what they're saying up there. And they had something up there. All right. So getting to the reading. So we're going to read from the book, The Gene Keys. It's by Richard Rudd, 1122. Woo, woo, choo, choo. And I'm so happy that you're here to hang out when you can be anywhere else. And again, this is, right, I'm not going to say high vibrational channel. This is a channel where you can come or a platform or a place in space, right? Where you and I, right? You and I can verse, right? And just allow things to be what they are, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to start branching the channel out into subdivisions and subcategories, so we have a little bit more of an archive. So it's not just in one like thrift shop or one big garbage heap, so to speak. Especially being metaphysical, but again, everything grows with, right? It starts off one way, and then as we go through, shit starts to get organized and put into place. We see where there's overcrowding and where there's, right, things that aren't, it's like, all right, that might work to shorten, and right, so doing some editing and stuff. And I'm really looking to collaborate with, right, like-minded beings, which is what we're all doing on that. We're relearning, right, our telepathy, our empathy, our safety, coming out of fight or flight survival mode and allowing ourselves to be a little bit more vulnerable so that we can have a more childlike perception, right? Imagination nation, right? Don't allow anyone, person, place, or thing, including self, and I'm working on this too, right, to prevent us from co-creating with spirit, right, and divinely pushing through, right, because this is the rebirth of ourselves, the Christ consciousness, and it's messy, right, at first. It's just a mess. So thank God we have so many different beings that all do different jobs, and then when we're able to come from a more respectful place, it's like, I may not know what you're doing. Certain things may feel uncomfortable, and I don't like the way it feels. Makes my gut feel all tight and my chest, and I get, right, my shoulders go up to my ears, and it's like, right? But then I have to remember to breathe, because it might just be something new to me, right? Virgin, a different way of looking at something, which is someone else's normal. So for me to, right, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to have feelings, right? And then two, let's be clear, because when someone thinks or knows then that they're going to get caught or feels like they've been doing something bad, or someone won't, right, when we feel like someone won't accept us or respect us or what have you, we can tend to go into, right, hiding, which is a, right, so just a, right, so that's as a human condition, right? It's like sometimes if you've done something, said wrong, and it's like, damn. So then it's like, right, do you just say right away, or, right, or especially like in the past, like that's why I don't like those feelings. So for me, it's not like I'm all so perfect, but it's like, it's like a hot potato. I don't like holding on to something if it's not, right, like if it's not ringing true, or like if I did something and it's like, ooh, to then have to have the carry, right, be a carrier of that feeling, which is disease, causes disease, because now I have to hold something and hide it and make pretend so that nobody else can see. So that puts us in a whole different type of energy, right? So, and I'm sure everyone can relate with, at some point in their life, going through that feeling, doing something that was like, and then having to, right, maybe apologize later on or come clean with it or get caught, right? However it may have ended up, or maybe all three ways, right? Because again, we're here to have an experience in life. So our souls are able to rise in vibration. Again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So everybody has different vibrational said curses, vibrational energy that they've been holding on to for the last, right, 7 generations, 5 generations, right, 5G, however long throughout the bloodlines. And it takes this long for that energy to, right, for us to come out of that density, which is why they changed the vibrational frequency, I do believe, of like the I don't know that everything's always all for bad. It's like they, you know, in a sense, right, innocence, in a sense, if you really think about it, it's like if the reincarnation cycle was longer and they didn't shorten the lifespan as they did, we would have never come out of that lower vibrational dense frequency, because we would have been stuck in it for so long. Right? So it's like, what's the song? You know, some drink to remember, some drink to forget. Is that? So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. She said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices. Oh, it is Hotel California, right? From far away, wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Well, I've been, I'm not going to announce where I am, but I've been at the Calling All Angels. Oh, it's 11:29, 11:11. So, right, one love. All right, so death of the ego, which again is our physical born sign, but it's not like kill the whatever. It's, we're just killing that way of thinking gradually and naturally as we go through this transitional change of evolution, right? Not labeling ourselves so much, letting go of labels, names, contradictions within, because we're all walking contradictions. Like, I'm like this, but then sometimes they'll put me in the right situation and then I can feel it, right? It's like, so if one is really honest with oneself, like, right, how, right, different mixtures of environments and situations with our inner environment, what's going on, what we've been dealing with. And then if we have to deal with different things in our outer environment, how do we as a person react to those things? And what have we been holding on to? This is the big question. I want you to be really honest. What have we been holding on to right? That is like, that makes us either feel shame, guilt, that we won't be accepted, that we won't, we won't be liked, we're not good enough, right? Because those are those lies. That's ego in reverse. So it's coming from a feeling of lack. So then one is always trying to be better than, or is going to feel disappointed because they didn't, right? And we can't always hit the bell, right? It's like we're not going to always be able to run up the mountain and fucking smack the, right, capture the flag, right? You tire out sometimes, right? And then we need to rest. And when we're rest in peace, able to rest, our body naturally does the rest. Yeah. I also just want to briefly touch on the subject of the 72, right? And the lesser and the greater keys of Solomon, or the 72 demons within the gut. Because again, the solar plexus, right? Which on the soul, it could be like a pull from a fishing line. Think if a fisherman got your navel cavity with a hook and you're being pulled, right? Now, right, dissolve that. But that's how we're, right, that's how we've been living, right, energetically, parably speaking, right? Or like umbilical cord being pulled, or like in Dune, being way out in space, being held onto by the cord, right? So gently, right, however that is to you, the things that we get pulled by our gut. So a gut instinct is great. It lets us know, right, we're hungry. It lets us know to worry. It communicates right away. Boom! Heaven separates from earth and comes right up into the mindset, right? So Set comes right up into where Osiris's domain is, on the throne, where the pineal gland is, right? The pine cone. Research pine cone and the metaphysical meaning. I've brought pine cones on here lots and lots of times. Way more like humans than one thinks. Right? Sometimes the thinking mind, 1133, is what gets us tripped up. So it's not like, oh, so we shouldn't think, we shouldn't do, we shouldn't, we will do. No. That's all we're saying. However, in order to have, right, the ability to see more clearly, have more clear thinking, more clear waters, more of a calm vibration from within, so we're not feeling so scattered, and again, in survival mode, living in survival mode and trying to wonder how we're going to feel better. This is how we're going to feel better. We have to deal with these things. We can't pretend or try to get another, etc., in order to, and know, because there's some that, right, we have a whole bunch of different vibrational species, beings, peoples. This is why it's important to know thyself. The same food for me might not be the same food for you, and even though there's certain things that we could eat the same or share, right? But where we come from in our natural vibration, right? If we couldn't do that, not the same on a regular, right? So there's always varying variables, varying differences between each moment in a self and what have you, and then between others, what's the norm, what's the normal high vibrational frequency within you, right? Naturally, not how we've been all stuffed, right? Eating horribly, thinking horribly, just stuffing emotions. We're like stuffed turkeys, right? The original bird of America. And then at the same time, there's layers and layers and layers of masks and varying degrees of the different characteristics, different things. Think of all the different things you've done. If you've been married, divorced, the different relationships you've had, different places you've worked, so different positions that you've, right, played a part in or been a part of. Did you like them? Did you learn things even if they weren't for you really? Did you still leave with something to be grateful for? Like, did you still learn something? Or maybe you learned it was something that it's like, right, and I know that vibration, it's like I don't have to judge it, but it's just not for me. So it's like, thank you so much. I appreciate, right? But that's not my food. I've already tried that before and it doesn't really agree with me. Doesn't mean it's not going to agree with me maybe at another time, another right season in my life. But presently, right now, it's not in my, right, it's not the song I want to listen to. It's just not in vibration with me. But most of the time, we as people, right, we the people, the US, us, right, in a general, because it's algol's children, right, children of alcohol, children of Algol, the demon star, right, which isn't, again, it's like Greg, the Antichrist is going to, it's like, well, where's the Antichrist? How has everyone been living for how long? It's like, isn't that within you? Right, because we're right within, it's like because there's like the fight that goes on within ourselves, right, like war inside my head, right, so there's turmoil, especially when we've been living by gluttony, the seven deadly sins, by the gut, and by fear, and by, right, if you do that, then blah 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 blah. So in the mind, so we've been, right, say, poisoned in a sense by, right, the foster father or the government, the capital G gangsters, right, capital or and two, that's like, right, so it's like when kids are running around, we have lots of mentors and fathers. So we the people have to be responsible for our part and being part of that awareness, so that we're not at war with ourselves, right? Spell war backwards. Right? Ooh, baby, I like it raw. And the W can flip up and down. You can play with that all day. Three. C3PO. I know. Right? So becoming more organic, more true to ourselves. You know, like with Roundup and what have you, it's like things can look green, but what's going on underneath, right? The fungi and the bacteria that create the minerals in the soil in order to nurture the plantation, the plants, the seeds that grow, and actually find them a pathway to come up, right, from the underground, digital underground. Remember? The Humpty Dance is our chance to do the hump. Oh, and I snorted. That's perfect. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'm on here being real and raw as hell. Thank you. Love you guys. So, right, like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? And what's a homunculus? And some lay eggs, some carry eggs, some give the egg to another to protect. Think of all the different animal species and the animal kingdom. And that was here before, right? Mankind or human, which are two different breeds in Genesis. And then let us make them likened to our image. Like when now we're speaking of doppelgangers, and when people, right, steal intellectual property and try to make something else something and what have you. And again, sometimes that's for protection too, right? Obviously. And then and also everybody, right? Like, not, we don't ever want to just be one thing all the time. I mean, I don't. Do you? Do y'all remember a movie, Little Princess? I love that movie. It's Shirley Temple, and she's like in a school, and her father's out has is at war. I don't know where her mother was. I guess she passed, and but while her father was at war, You know, he was very well off in the military. He was like a sergeant or general and what have colonel. And so she was treated really well, you know, because it was a rich, uppity school. But then they thought, y'all know that word, right? Thought, Philly. The other day she looked up top. Kudos, kudos, kudos to you. Toasty dough. You already know. Tater tots. Some like it hot. All right. Anyhow, focus. I digress. Ah, um, so philosophies. So right, thought is also right. Like amigos, right? Bitch ain't nothing but a thought. Um, so it's like another word for hoe. So if we're just having too many thoughts and right, just letting one go, it's like farting out of our head, literally, right? It's just like little freaking sluts running around. Which is really quite comical. So that's why it's like once we start to, I got my coffee over. Once we can laugh at our dang selves a little bit more, right? Then it ain't so bad, being a whore. And don't be taking that word out of context. So what is that? Prostitution. Isn't that the first word in that, or the first job? Job. So if one goes against their own grain, against their own cross from within, and snaps their wood, no good. No roots, no fruit. Jimmy crack corn, but I don't care. My master's gone away. Left hand hold the wheat. Not today. I don't know what the fuck. Anyhow, right? I channel a spirit, so I'm sorry if you feel like I'm going off track. It's all part of the divine spiritual act. So fuck. Anyhow, again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to get to the reading of the death of the ego. Letting the farts go. Death of the ego. And remembering to breathe and let it, your energy come back in, because that's where it gets lost at sea. And then our divine intellectual property and sacred energy gets lost and taken by whoever's making wishes with the jinn. You know, don't forget, jinn, a genie has to be in a bottle, and you are lightning in a bottle, electricity in a bottle. You have a soul if you have one. If you don't, you'll be receiving yours. Your soul's going to find your body, even if they took your heart. That's why once the alignment happens, the crystalline bodies go back to their original bloodline, their blood state. The blood is crystalline form of water, right? Lava, molten rock. It's going through a whole big process in order to be the blood within our physical skin, right? The veins, right? We don't see, well, I kind of see mine, right? Within, which are blue until, right? Oxygen, oxys. And then how do they keep so many asleep, right? Or addicted? Dictionary, canary. Anybody? Ollie want a cracker? A lot of time parrots outlive their pirates. They talk a lot. 11:44. That was pretty funny. Pirates came up earlier. I was Captain Kidd. Is it Captain Kidd? Documentary. Right, and pirates, fancier words to make things appear, present themselves, or right, give the illusion of So again, no, like, and again, remember, first the truth is going to piss you off. But my father there is a plumber, and he loves this joke, right? Better to be pissed off than pissed on. But if a jellyfish sting you, you might need to be pissed on, unless you got some vinegar handy. All right, I digress. Death of the ego. I know I got caught up in some ways there. But again, quantum entanglement. So as we're going through our collective wounds, which is what we read in the first part of this, right? The word wound also means wound. So think of like, right, like a needle or how a, right, like, and thread wound around it. So it's like a cord strangling our DNA strand. So as they unravel, you know, it's like when we get our boo-boos shown, it's going to be, it's like, hey, it might, right, especially if if we've been trying to hide it. So remember to be very gentle when people, yourself included, be gentle with yourself. This is about rising to divine feminine. So the divine feminine within is going to take care, right, of you, right, the little child that's afraid inside of being seen, of being heard, of everybody seeing it with something to be embarrassed about. And then two, liar, liar, pants on fire, right? Hang them on the telephone wire. So there's going to be some that, right, exploitation is going to be necessary because otherwise they're not going to ever effing motherfucking stop. So it's like, no, no, no. If your name's on the wall like that, but that also doesn't mean everybody's going to see you necessarily yet. But if one doesn't go through, right, inner confession and come to terms, it's like hanging oneself upside down and like trying strangling around. It's like just chill out and go through what you need to go through in the mental space, in the mind, and know you're not alone. You're also not being, it's not like, but at the same time, it, you know, it's like there is a certain, like, right, we're all in this together. So what you're looking for is looking for you. Or if we avoid something, right, it's gonna more likely pop up or be more resistance is gonna cause more of a pushback because it's like right, if it, so like, this is why they say too, right? Nobody gonna claim anything because it's like a little bits and pieces or everybody's. Everything gets traveled through the air and recycled, and so there's to a certain degree. Again, everything is everything, and everything gets all mixed up and come from and multiply and divide and like attract like, and then right oppose, and then so we've been going through all this, you know. Again, many varying different degrees, what we call life, right? Experiences. So there's a lot of things people, so coming to terms with that, like in the, ancient days or native days too, it's like to become a man, right? You'd have to go out to the mountain or the woods, and they would dig a hole in the ground, kind of like a grave, right? And you'd have to lie in the earth. I think it was for 3 days. So that you're right. So at nighttime, it's all quiet. You're going to hear every little bug, every little sound. It's like, what could that be? And our imagination can, right, make it into something way more scary than it is. But then we start to be more calm and in tune with the creepy things, the crawly things, the things that we think are so scary. The little green fly just Lord of the Flies. And two, right, some have been holding on to way more energy than others, right? More volcanic, etc., explosive, different dynamic energy. So being gentle, especially if those that are like, I'm from the light. Well, okay, so doesn't mean like, okay, go feed them and go hang out with them and go like, right? No, 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 no. It means, right, it's more like, just give it love and understanding and patience so that it doesn't, right, and so it knows it can give itself permission to have time and space to calm down and use that energy to go co-create with spirit, or that, right, so divine feminine can come up within them and let their inner child know they're not alone, they're okay, they've been alone for a long time, right? Where does rage come from? Did I get knocked offline? Oh no, am I even being cosmic surfing, all right? Oh, hope I haven't been talking all this time and it's not recording. That always seems to happen. For over 5 years now. 7. I don't even know anymore. Oh, doobie 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 doo. That one too. I don't always check it, but definitely take that down. And I'm like I said, I've been going through learning how to put things into a little bit more of a orderly perspective as I go through. So it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And the website's up too, metaphysicalmamma.com. And it's just kind of popped up for the moment, and but I'm gonna do, yeah, it's just, there's so much going on. We only have so much time and energy to put into each thing, and especially if someone's been in the well putting something into the water of a well. It's like, well, we're just gonna wait a while and allow time and space for things to be processed instead of jumping into that well full of, or allow that to again take its course and just, right. So as we more, humbly become one with ourselves and come from that place of true center and balance, right? True north, the buoyancy point. It's like where the hourglass point is within. That's your, right, heart chakra, where you're, right, with a little bit of heart and soul. So true north point, or zero gravity, right, where you would tread water, right, and be up above the water. I really hope this is that we're all good here. I don't see no time. Down, down, down. All right, so let's read this quickly. Yeah, I wish, bear with me. Says live, so hopefully, I don't know why there's no time. It is super hot out here, I will say. Okay, so let's get into the death of the ego. Mindfulness, gift, and mindfulness. When you raise the frequency of the 33rd shadow to the 33rd gift, it becomes something rather magical, a quality called mindfulness. Mindfulness is a word often used in Buddhism, where it is understood as one of the great attributes of meditation. To be mindful means to be attentive, but it also suggests more than this. The person who displays the gift of mindfulness is someone who has loosened the grip of both extremes of the 33rd shadow. Okay, all right, there. Well, all right. They are no longer held captive by their own unconscious desires, fears, and reactions. At the level of mindfulness, they may still hide or react, but now they can see themselves doing it. Exactly. Now we're just a little more aware, and then we have more ability to remember that we have a tool to use, right? Breathe, close your eyes. It's like, I'm okay. I am safe. I am loved. It's just a moment, right? This too shall pass. Remember how to talk to yourself like someone that loves you, used to, or that you wish they did, right? The mother or grandmother you dream, or someone that was in that manner nice to you that you were safe with, right? It could be just in your mind, right? So however it comes to you naturally, allow that to be. Okay. Once the process of self-remembering has begun, in a certain sense, you enter a kind of purgatory, the great contemplation. And what I was referring to before with the Native Americans or the natives or the ancient ritual culture, etc. I don't want to use the wrong words, but because I'm sure there's many, that's like the tomb and the what have you. They also do like I know ritual occult things, like did stuff like in a dark room and zip people up in like a black bag, so it's like total darkness. And at first the mind is like, oh, it's fine, da da da, and then so just even put yourself in that position in your mind. Don't really do that, right? But or like lay in your bed and right, it's like, all right, or go lay at the park, right? So you're laying on the earth under a tree and just allow your thoughts to be, right, free, what they be, and have, right, that dance with time and space and self, allowing oneself to come back home, right? And that's how one knows, right, you're never alone, right, where you feel safe. Not like, I'm gonna get you, sucker. All right, okay, back to the reading. So, I'm like, wait, hold on a sec. Sorry, I would do that. So the purgatory, at least when you were asleep in the shadow frequency, you were ignorant of your sanskaras and the cause and extent of your own suffering. Now, however, you begin to see the very patterns that cause your own suffering. And the more it's a nice day to ride a bike. And the more mindful you become, the more pain and fatality you encounter. After a certain time, however, mindfulness begins to transform the kinetic energy within your own sanskaras, and a new view of life opens up before you, right? Like the lotus coming up out of the mud, right? Christ consciousness. And Christ consciousness is 144,000 consciousnesses. So that's going to be messy and confusing and like, who the hell am I? Or what? Maybe I'm not that. Am I this? Right? All this questioning that goes on and it's like, oh my, and then it can get where people get to a very depressed state. That's why it's dark night of the soul and feel very, right, say suicidal, etc. But we're killing the way we think, the things that don't no longer need to be there, separating the wheats from the tares, cutting off the fat, and then allowing that to transmute, right, alchemize into free energy. But that takes time and patience and little by little, right? It's like, but you know what to do inside of you. However it resonates true, like whatever your little right? It's like, oh, I used to do that when I was little. Or like, right, what'd you do when you didn't feel safe? What have you done now? What do you still do now? What do you do to cleanse yourself and your aura and the chakras? And right, people wash their body or their hair or what have you, but which actually is taking off a lot of the natural radioactive, right, radio vibrational frequency that one needs to be able to tune in with earth, spirit, the collective, etc., the elementals, right, the parts of you that feel lost. If we're too squeaky clean sometime, then it's like, right, just slide right on by. It's like wax on, wax off. I don't mean like dirty. Again, it's like and people go through a transitional stage too, where because if you're used to putting chemicals in your head, where in your body, when you're in the water, our body's like right, SpongeBob SquarePants, so the pores open up, and it's just drinking in all that stuff. If you put deodorant on and illuminate, you're great holding in the natural way your body is made to release the toxins that are being held inside it. And especially if you're not eating healthy or having negative thoughts and feelings often, then there's a buildup of toxicity and an acidic environment is produced. So whether one actually drinks alcohol or not, it's like, well, but the long production of being in the production that we've been in and coming into the new, right, a new way of looking at things and turning it into, right, the word money means spiritual matter turned into physical matter. Look up the word money, metaphysical meaning, and the etymology. It's a currency, right, a current. Only takes 4 cents to make each bill. Wheel. And then when one doesn't have enough, then they have credit cards and then credit card debt. And that all come from the cattle and the Bible and the betting on women, children, etc. And if women are the womb, the dark that create the light, and others are banking on and they've already gambled all theirs away, then it's like, well, who can we be with now? So then they marry a woman in order to, these are like old, I forget what they call them, tids or I don't know. I don't want to quote and say the wrong things. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. Right? Why they call marriage the old ball and chain. It's not like I'm not saying that's a bad thing. However, there's again, just looking at it in a manner of, I love you, and with the things that we, that we, they don't want me to talk about that. The things that we marry and are engaged with and that we put our time and energy into, that's where currents and right spiritual thoughts, feelings get put into different swirls, different cauldrons, different fascists, different. So if others are coming back and forth and taking and using our energy, a little sprinkle here, a little there, and stirring pots, that's different than the natural. Right, it's a little different if somebody go into your and tries to alter and change your stuff in your cup and then goes dispersing it elsewhere. But then too, a lot of that's necessary for fertilization in the high, right? Like, so there's different, again, this goes so deep, but we're also like, it's like good dog flicking off the fleas, right? We're getting rid of what no longer serves us, period, right? Let it go. Let it go. It don't serve you anymore. We don't need to know what it is or what it for or what you want. Nope. Who's that guy that sings that song? Nope. Do I want to? What? He's like, nope. I gotta look that up. I'll find it. That's hysterical. If anybody knows that, I found him not that long ago. I think he's been around obviously a while, and it was like, I don't know if all his songs are comical like that, but. And I love Tom McDonald and Stickman. positive, 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 conscious rapper. Good to work out too, good positive vibes. And there's stick men mixes I listened to. I just found 2 recently, and those are some pretty good mixes. Just throwing some music mixes out there that anyhow. All right, back to the reading. I know I digress often, leave the nest. All right. Let's see. At the level of, okay, wait. They're no longer held captive by their own unconscious desires, fears, and reactions. At the level of mindfulness, they may still hide or react, but now they can see themselves doing it, right? Being the observer and the witness of self. Once the process of self-remembering has begun, in a certain sense, you enter a kind of purgatory. At least when you were asleep in the shadow frequency. I know we read this already, but we're just going on. You were ignorant of your sanskaras and the cause and extent of your own suffering. Now, however, you begin to see the very patterns that cause your own suffering, and the more mindful you become, the more pain and fertility you encounter. After a certain time, however, mindfulness begins to transform the kinetic energy within your own sanskaras, and a new view of life opens up before you. Again, lotus. It is also through mindfulness that you discover how to refine and purify your nature so that you no longer create negative karma, right? And that's what we're all working on right now, big time. This process of purification is an integral part of the loosening of your sanskaras, and it can be hugely accelerated through working within your relationships, right? Like with Buddha, like, why do you hang around that man that aggravates you so much, right? He said, because he teaches me patience. Through the ring of trials, you learn how to discriminate the 12th gift between that which keeps you trapped and that which brings you freedom. And you do this by moderating your thoughts, feelings, speech, and actions. And a thought is an action. So by monitoring it, it's like, wait, where am I letting them go, right? Again, farts and wind. Where am I letting them all go? But at the same time, if they've got, it's like transmute, free energy, alchemize, because a lot, it's not, they're just, otherwise they just keep traveling around and hitting us all in the head and making us feel all the same, which is just ridiculous, right? Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over. It's like, duck hunt. But don't think too much about what it is. Just let it be and, right? Free energy. Okay. No longer creating negative karma. This process will bring a child learn to discriminate between. Similarly, through the other allied stop codon, the 56th gift of enrichment, well, Mama born 56. You see how easily you are distracted away from your true nature by your senses. My middle name. I'm like, oh, that looks like an anchor. Squirrel. All right. Thus, you begin to be drawn towards experiences that enrich your spirit, rather than experiences and addictions that simply stimulate or overstimulate your senses or numb them out. Mindfulness, as such, is a very enriching process. The karma inside your very DNA is systematically transformed back into pure essence, and that's what the is up. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you're having fun. Either way. And share if you know anybody that would like this as well. Por favor. Favors. All goes right back in the pot like a one big rainbow. It's like, woohoo! The essence, and the more we all keep doing that, the more we free your mind, and the rest will follow. We also have to acknowledge it, not ignore it. Let it come up. Can't try to keep covering up the boo-boos. This essence, in turn, is so wonderful that you find yourself wanting to experience more of it. You have found the secret of all human desire. Once it is purified into its natural state of divine longing, it becomes the very fuel that returns you to your true center of being, right? Why is there inflation, especially of gas, fuel? What are people afraid of and expecting and running toward and trying to hold on to and build and prepare? And right, there's like, it's like, which is, but if hold on, are you do the spiritual work, right? The temple is within. And the more you do that, you can start to let go of all that entanglement and monstrosity that and fear mongering and fight or flight. And it doesn't mean everything's great all the time. It just means, again, we start to learn how to use our tools from within and come from that place rather than right, or however, or right, all the we have respect for other energies seen and unseen. All right. We're getting there. The essence, in turn, is so wonderful you find yourself wanting to experience more of it. Okay, it becomes the very fuel that returns you to the true center of being, your true center of being. The OG. Gah! In Buddhism, there is a well-known meditation technique called Vipassana. Vipassana. Excuse me if I'm butchering that. Although it can be translated in many ways, it points toward a witnessing self-awareness. In one sense, every one of the 64 gifts is a type of Vipassana, a self-Vipassana. Whip it good. Sorry. A self-witnessing that is a prelude to the shaking off, like I was saying, shake it off, of the negative patterns of your own shadows. True transcendence only occurs at the level of the Siddhi, but the bridge to these higher levels is the myriad of techniques and themes of the 64 gifts, right? The whole world's a stage. And mythology is important too, because that describes, right? That describes the different things that we go through, right? The stories that you relate to in mythologies and the different, right, deities and what have you, and stories, right? X-Men, right? Avengers, different comics, what have you. Those are all, right, parts of you. Different movies, like what do you, right? What stories, songs make you feel like, right? The poetry of life that comes from within and it sings a song all day long, all night long. All right, at the gift frequency, technique is still extremely valid, which is why meditation or contemplation is so helpful. For most people, and right, we're always in a rushing, right? What's UK backwards? It's a coup. And not taking anything away from, but right, what are we participating in? Send love and whoa. And what's alien? If we don't calm down and allow time and space to process for digestion, well, that's what's creating whirlpools and all this swashbuckling around. Yeah. Right? Be that which we need to see in order to be, right? Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, etc. Sexually in the right, however, right, in the right vibration so we can be free. We don't want to keep getting all entangled up in all this other, like, right, with people with jealousy, envy, greed, again, the gut, lust that directs the brain and then makes, right, the mad king go insane. So, right, allowing that energy to go back where it belongs and to be the controller, so to speak, right? A good handler of that energy is how we start to do it, right? Sexual energy, sacred energy exchange has to come from within. Right? So it takes it takes some time and some, right? This is new arrays of formation of the DNA codes arising up, right? Expanding, and then alchemizing and calming back down. And then you may feel tired, so go rest, right? Because that's when the body mends and gets rid of what it, right? It's like defragment, clean sweep, defragment, right? And everything starts to grow, right? We grow when we rest. Like when you're a little, right, girl or boy or however, right? Everything grows during rest. And then, right, we feed nutrients and good thoughts and nurturing, and right, Mother Nature does the rest. It's like, right, and then we all grow into who we are. All right, here we go. I see the word seed. Okay. For most people, the gift is most accessible. Okay, yeah. For most people, it is the gift that is the most accessible route to the higher dimensions. In fact, you might say that the shadow is the seed. Everything's birthed in the dark. The gift is the flower, and the siddhi is the fruit. One step automatically leads to the next step. Mindfulness is not really a technique, although it can be in the beginning, especially when we're not able to clear our minds or we feel like we have to be somewhere else, right? Flash Gordon, or we're not comfortable sitting, right? We have anxiety just sitting in our own, it's like, I don't know what to do, or I should be doing something, or someone's going to yell at me or ask me what I was doing, or did. And right, they want notes. Well, it's like, okay, but then they're not doing their work. It's like, I kindly thank you and appreciate your care and concern. I'll have to take a look at that, but I'm in the middle of something right now. I'll have to get back to you. Whatever you have to say. Not whatever you have to say, but kindly, right? Acknowledge, respect, and thank you so much. I'll talk to you at another point in time when I'm able to have a more clear state of mind. I got some stuff going on right now. What is that? Thank you so much for your care and concern. That's what I'm kind of going through. I'm just, right? It's like cleaning my room, going through my files, clearing out my phone data, clearing out my computer data, wherever I have to, right, do clearing. So I'm just cleaning some stuff up. Maybe you should do that too, right? If they keep asking, like, wow, maybe we should all do that. And then a lot of us that are aware of that feeling won't have to keep explaining what that is. Okay. So let's see. Flower. Gift is the flower and the fruit. One step automatically leads to the next step, right? Like a chain reaction. Mindfulness is not really a technique, although it can be in the beginning. Mindfulness is the organic flowering of self-awareness or self-remembering. As you awaken within the Maya, the gift of mindfulness springs up from within you as a natural aspect of your nature. As soon as you begin to witness your karmic patterns in action, your sanskaras begin to unwind. It's like your akashics. To be mindful means to catch yourself in the middle of a heated argument and to realize that you have forgotten your true nature. In effect, it is to see your own victimhood. That's a rough and tough one, right? As you begin to see our boo-boos through these unconscious tendencies, right? Our devilish nature, our antichrist that protects the kids, like, no, that's not true, or that's not what it is, right? Our matrix, our belief system, what we've been protecting so long with our ego. The ego is also known as the devil, and the devil comes out if the natural innocent child inside has been harmed or something of nature. When people say like evil spirit, well, if man keeps harming nature, then there's spirits are going to come to guard that place. So again, man needs to take a look at oneself. Why is that? Like, oh, if there's a fear there, it's like, wait, hold on, maybe one needs to make peace with that, because there's, right, it's like there's something going on there. Cup of sunshine. Okay. As you awaken within the Maya, the gift of mindfulness springs up from within you as a natural aspect. As soon as you begin to witness your karmic patterns and actions, your sanskaras begin to unwind. To be mindful means to catch yourself in the middle of a heated argument and realize you've forgotten your true nature. In effect, it is to see your own victimhood. As you begin to see through these unconscious tendencies that have driven your nature for so long, a new awareness develops within you. It's like a Polaroid picture. It is important to understand that at the frequency level of the gifts, you are not yet free from your patterns, but you are engaged in a process that you can't get a shot for that is progressively weakening them. This is how we do the big work, right? Work with faith. It's 12:21, right? Faith without works is dead, and work without faith is dead. Okay. It is at this level that another interesting phenomenon occurs. The closer you come to the Siddhic quantum leap, the more challenging and intense your patterns appear to become. They are not, in fact, becoming any harder, but you are becoming more and more aware that you are asleep, which in turn makes you feel more and more uncomfortable, right? Adam, Eve. However, since you have also learned by now that you are unable to do anything to speed up your awakening, you start to witness your illusion beginning to crack around the edges. This is what the mystics refer to as the death of the ego, right? The matrix, the belief system starts to crumble, and it's like, whoa. So be very understanding with yourself, patient, and with others. When we start to get right in the heat of anger, in any kind of heated moment, practicing love and like, right, okay, wait, hold on. If we're reacting or someone else is reacting, we normally react. It's like, hey, right, wait, we're protecting a feeling and something that's reminding us of, right, a big ucky man or woman or something that happened when we were little or something that's happened, right? There's a ucky shadow there. There's some mucky there. So be patient with ourselves and then know that that's what others are going through too when they react, especially when they seem to have such a big ego. It's like they're protecting something maybe that's very, very hurt deep within. So let your inner child just know that. And you don't have to like, oh, and baby them and mother them and what, just respect that. Give love to that child on a spiritual level. Send love and light to their soul. And it's like, I see you. I see that you're hurt, right? Inside your mind's eye and in your heart. I see you're hurt. It's okay. You're not alone, right? We all met here for each and one another to know that we're safe. We don't have to know all the details and all the answers. Then we're poking and antagonizing, right? When we see that, we're learning to be a little more calm, understanding, or to take ourselves out of the equation, right? Okay, I love you. I'll see you later, right? Or just if it's like through text and stuff, right? Sometimes no response is best. Just let time and space do its thing. Even though you may want to respond, I should say something, I should do, allow it to be and just do inside, right? Eternally and internally, right? Eternal internal love right out from all straight. It's like, it's okay, right? It's okay, brother. You're not alone. It's okay, sister. Sister, you're not alone. Right? Okay. Oof, my legs. Let's see. However, since you have learned by now that you are unable to do anything to speed up your awakening, your willingness to little, your illusion begin to crack around the edges. This is what the mystics refer to as the death of the ego. Your mindfulness is the only thing that you can rely on upon at this stage, and your breath to clear it. And eventually, even that, too, will have to dissolve. I was about to say, yeah. Interestingly enough, mindfulness is the prerequisite for genius. The gift level is the level of your genius, right? Genie in us. Genius. The genie in us, right? You in all of us and in us, right? USA. That's where we are right now, anyhow. But we're all a big mixed up soup bowl over here, right? When you can objectively view your thoughts, your feelings, your passions, and desires, your own subjectivity, only then can you create art from them. Art, art, art. Our Father who art. If you are a scientific genius, you need to be able to, that's working with the divine masculine, right, in a creative art way. Our Father who does art in heaven, right? Hollow, a moon, ding dong. Hollow is thy name. With your feelings, son. The sun is S-O-N, son. Or the moon, the shadow of the sun. The moon gets its light from the reflection of the sun. Mother, Father. Mother, Father, God. Within. Oh, the birds are chirping. They're like, if you're a scientific genius, you need to be able to think with your feelings or feel with your thoughts. This is how genius emerges into the world. It is witnessed. This is also why many geniuses are uninterested in recognition. They know they did not create their genius. It only happens when you are not there. Exactly. Right? Being out of your mind is a good place to be, traveling right through rather than stuck in one's head. Tropo. Genius is a state of consciousness, a certain stage in the raising of our frequency. I get stuck in both, though, I'll say, to be truly honest. I can get stuck in both places. True mindfulness occurs when you become aware that something else is beginning to look through your eyes, think through your mind, and live through your actions. This something else, whether we call it genius, meditation, or prayer, is the larger reality remembering itself through us. And I will do a part 3 for the 33rd degree Siddhi revelation, divine closure. And I apologize if I'm saying that word, butchering it as well. Siddhi, Siddhi. So I'll have to look it up inside. It is also through mindfulness that you discover how to refine and purify your nature so that you no longer create negative karma. Just a little blurb on the side. So on that note, I thank you guys so much for coming to hang out. Hopefully this is recording. Like I said, I ain't got no time clicker ticking on here to let me know I'm on. Anyhow, I'm just going to pull one animal card before we depart. Happy Sunday, or again, whatever time. Parrots at the bottom. Watch. Watch your words. Vibration creates form, and a thought is a vibration. And none of us are perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect, and we're all doing the best we can to become a little bit more consciously aware of our genius within and allow them to just bloom naturally, not by electric shock and what have you. Pig spirit, like you wear a little tutu. Use your mind wisely. I like that. Watch your words and use your mind wisely. And what else do we have on the bottom? Stag spirit, take the lead. And what's popping up here is it's the whale and whale spirit. Remember that song? What is that? Yeah. Trust in the mystery. And on that note, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, and thank you so much for coming to hang out. I am hot as hell with one L out here. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Later.